Iran says there are no talks underway, either direct or indirect. Iran takes a dig at US, saying they're negotiating amongst themselves.
سطح خوددرگیری هایتان به مرحله مذاکره خودتان با خودتان رسیده؟ سطح خوددرگیری هایتان به مرحله مذاکره خودتان با خودتان رسیده؟
With missiles flying, warships moving, and troops deploying, the question remains, where is the ceasefire?
Did the ceasefire, did this pause fail? Did this pause fail? Did the pause ever happen? Was there ever a pause? These are my three questions tonight. I welcome from New Delhi Major General G.D. Bakshi, for the Iran View senior journalist Yusuf Jalali, strategic affairs expert Peter Topichano from Moscow. Troy Blackwell is a former advisor to Biden, Democrat from New York. Saurabh Shukla from News Mobile from Washington. Sierra Claire, foreign policy expert from Los Angeles. Dean Bexendale, he's the author and publisher of the Sunday Guardian, as a columnist from Toronto. And Ryan Amiri, founding leader of the Conservative Party of Iran, in exile, live from Istanbul. Ryan, what is your view of this pause? Was there ever a pause? Who is not working to let a pause happen in the last 3 days?
Look, the Islamist regime, of course, it is that the answer is the Islamist regime. The pause, the actual pause, is going to happen only when the regime is gone. That is the only actual ceasefire that you would want. Because as long as this regime is in charge, we're going to have war and chaos and misery for the citizens in the Middle East. That is the answer. That is the actual answer that you want. The actual pause is the end of the regime, and the end of regime didn't come yet. So there's no pause yet.
No, but the pause offer, Ryan, I'll go to Yusuf Jalali, was from America. Has America honored the pause? Yusuf.
Well, of course, we've not seen any pause. It's just the word. And we heard a very serious comment coming from Iranian armed forces spokesperson who said that Trump is disguising his claims of victory in words, which means that Trump is claiming victory by saying that, or by changing the definition of regime change. They're saying basically that Donald Trump has been changing this definition of regime change because he has not achieved this goal. Iran says that, and Iran continues to strike back. Iran continues to target Haifa and Tel Aviv. And just a few hours ago, the Iranian armed forces announced that they have been able to target Dimona and Haifa again. And they said that this is a direct response to Donald Trump's 48-hour and 5-day ultimatum he issued for Iran to try to force them into coming back to the negotiating table. So in the eyes of Iran, this is not a pause, actually. This is even more escalation, because Iran is not going to give in to any kind of negotiation that is not going to respect its sovereignty. And of course, its right to, for example, enrich uranium, and its right to develop ballistic missiles with ranges more than 500 kilometers. So Iran is not going to accept any kind of deal that would see it limit the range of its ballistic missiles, because for Iran, this is a red line, and Iran has relied on its ballistic missiles to win this fight. So if they just sort of clip the wings of its missiles and let them fly no longer than 500 kilometers, then it means that they pose no threat to the Israelis, and they cannot reach even further than Iraq. So to Iran, if these conditions are not met, then coming back to the negotiating table is an illusion for now.
So is the second phase, I want to go across to Moscow, to Peter. Peter, in the second phase, and Peter is is head of the section for new challenges in South and Southeast Asia at the Institute of World Economy and International Relations in Moscow. Peter, this is this next phase after whatever this pause is, if you call it a pause at all, is this next phase going to be more dangerous? Because now you have a lot of US Marines and ships and ground forces sort of preparing for something, maybe for Kharg, maybe for a ground invasion. Maybe if this doesn't work out by Friday, the pause period will be technically over, right? And Iran says, we're waiting for the Marines. Please come in, you're welcome. We're prepared for you. What could happen then? What situation do you foresee?
First of all, I want to say that in the US now we have a lot of innovative versions to explain what is going on. Even a pause term, it's not a military term, it's something just personal interpretation by the White House, what was Monday. As for the next phase, I would say that 5,000 Marines is not a huge number and it's not totally a number needed for ground invasion. Just compare, unfortunately, with unfortunate experience that Russia and Ukraine had in 2022 to prepare the initial phase of the military campaign. Russia had to move much bigger number of the troops supported by air and other parts of the armed forces of Russia. So here we have a naval component, we have missile and air component by the US and Israel, but definitely we lack a land component to perform any kind of ground invasion. Also, what was very clear in recent days, that the United States and Israel are left alone without support from other NATO member states by European countries, and even in the Gulf, the nations are not very supportive for making this campaign broader and more offensive against Iran.
So then now let's look ahead to Dean. Let's look ahead to Saturday and Sunday. Right, the pause is over. The pause has failed. There was no pause. All I see here, the only thing also another no pause. If you look at the share prices of the defense stocks, have you seen them, sort of? Have you seen them all-time high, 30-40% up on a 3-month average, right? You want to see these stocks? I've lined up all the stock. These companies were probably decided the way. Have you seen the Lockheed and Martin stock? I don't know if you've seen. Troy, have you seen the Lockheed Martin stock? It's just gone crazy. It's gone wild. Lockheed. It's
that happens.
No, that doesn't happen.
I want to
no. How did Lockheed? How did they get one?
The site. I want to tell you the significance of the weekend. There are two things which are happening. One, President Trump had 2 important engagements. Those have been cancelled for the weekend. I'm getting to hear from my White House sources. Second,
like what important engagements, like playing golf?
There's a White House briefing which is scheduled just at 1 p.m. today, which wasn't the case earlier. And what's happening is the proposal that's come to the fore are the maximalist positions. Both sides have put proposal like in any negotiation. The proposal are maximalist. Obviously, the idea is to put the maximum pressure on the other side. I'm an eternal optimist. I still feel that you will see some kind of a solution coming out of this. Obviously, it's a complicated situation. Iran obviously is also bargaining hard, but I can tell you the back channels are still very active. And as I said yesterday on your show as well, I'm still optimistic that in next 10 days, that's a deadline I have. Coming from my sources, you will see some kind of a solution coming out.
I don't know. Troy, I just got a tweet here. So you're very optimistic. Can I get Troy? Troy Blackwell. Troy, now Trump is saying that people like you who are not supporters of his politically, that you are trying to stir up internal chaos in the United States to downplay his achievements in Iran. He has just issued a statement that the radical left. Can I play that soundbite? You want to hear it? Troy, let me play it with Troy on air, everyone on air. Yeah, please play it. Yeah. Play it. Again, no audio. Where is the
I'm here.
Niranjan? We didn't have the soundbite out there. Can we just come back?
Blown to pieces. They're unable to talk to each other. But we've had very strong talks. Mr. Witkoff and Mr. Kushner had them. They went, I would say, perfectly. I would say that if they carry through with that, it'll end that problem, that conflict. And I think it'll end it very, very substantially. We have very much in mind our partners in the Middle East. We've had great relationships with a lot of them, as you know. A lot of them were surprisingly hit. And I was surprised to see it, and so was everyone else. But we have.
Okay. Okay. So, Troy, is he sounding like a person with a plan?
No, he's not sounding like a person with a plan. What we are being asked to do is to not believe our own eyes. And so I'm going back to the president's remarks about chaos. Chaos is saying that there's a ceasefire, but sending 2,000 paratroopers to the Middle East over the weekend. Chaos is having Americans pay $1 more in gas because we are pretty much kneecapping energy for 20% of the world. Chaos is us in a war with no exit strategy and explanation of why we are there. That is what is happening with this president. So to answer your question about chaos and where the president stands, there is no ceasefire. There never was a ceasefire. This all comes down to money, as you mentioned about the stock. What the president is doing is that one day he's saying, okay, we are going hard. We're showing strength in Iran, and the stocks are going down. Then the next day he says, oh, things are great. We're in the middle of a conversation. We're having talks. Stocks are going up. So if you ever want to understand President Trump's playbook, it all goes back to money. It goes back to the stock market, and he's showing us that.
So is this something about betting going on here, Sierra? You know, there are also these reports, Sierra and Dean Baxendale, that this is about betting, that Donald Trump's son has invested in a company called Polymarket through a venture capital firm, and is now a strategic advisor for Kalshi. And Kalshi and Polymarket are in a legal battle because some states want to ban these prediction markets and betting platforms. The biggest of the lawsuits, by the way, Sierra, comes from Nevada, where the Nevada Gaming Control Board sued and issued enforcement actions against Kalshi and Polymarket. Right? There is a restraining order against this company in which Donald Trump Jr. has invested. And, Trump and his administration are backing this company, Kalshi and Polymarket, in a legal battle. So the point I'm trying to make is that there are some things called prediction markets in the US where you can make a lot of money, right? But if the president and the president's own son, Sierra, if the president and the president's own son are invested in these games, right? You know what these companies do, Sierra? They allow participants to buy and sell contracts tied to possible outcome of an event. You can wager on anything, whether who will win the NBA championship, to whether who will win between Iran and the United States of America. And there's big volume money that is going on. So is this become a betting game? I'm just wondering, or is this a conspiracy theory? A lot of people are talking about it here.
Well, as you said, these markets do exist in the United States, but betting on the on military action, has been going on before this whole Iran thing. So if the Trumps wanted to, somehow try to make money off of that using insider information, I mean, they could have been doing that already. So I don't think that this Iran thing is a money making thing for Trump or for his son. Now, one thing to get clear is that the ceasefire was, President Trump never said we were going to be pausing military action in Iran. He said we're going to be holding off on attacking their electrical grid and other infrastructure because he found somebody that he wanted to negotiate with. And I do believe that President Trump always wants to negotiate if he believes it's possible and, worthwhile. And so that's why you're seeing, everybody's kind of surprised. Oh, President Trump wants to back out. No, he's not backing out or backing down. His goal, whether it's through military action, whether it's through economic action like tariffs, his goal is to negotiate. So if he's found that that is a worthwhile endeavor at this point, that's why we're seeing him pursue that.
No, if that was a goal, then why did I'm not seeing the signals here? Because on March 24th, the Bushehr nuclear power plant was struck by missiles. The IAEA has confirmed that attack today. So if that is the goal, then why are these attacks happening?
Well, I would have to look at the attack and who did the attack. If there's Israel and the U.S. are both involved here. So, but I think President Trump's goal is to preserve the infrastructure of Iran as much as possible. If they were using it as a military base, then obviously that became a military target.
What if Iran were to say that these 5,000 Marines moving towards Iran are a legitimate military target and they strike?
Well, the 5,000 Marines that are coming to Iran were already scheduled to come long before these negotiations started. And we're continuing to send them, just as Trump did with the naval armada. When he said, I'm in talks with Iran and I'm sending the naval armada. It's the same thing now. I'm in talks with Iran and I'm sending the Marines. It's to keep the Iranians on track because unfortunately that's what they respond to.
Okay, so Sierra, I want General Bakshi, are you there? General Bakshi, can I have your attention? These 5,000 odd Marines, can they become a legitimate military target, even if not actively deployed? Can they become a legitimate military target for Iran?
Of course they are. If you are coming,
not even if they are not on the ground.
If they are coming with the intent of capturing the Kharg Island, trying to neutralize shore batteries on the northern shore of the Gulf, possibly in concert with the special forces, try and grab the 450 kilograms of enriched uranium, they are a legitimate target. And I am surprised that they haven't aimed some at cruise missiles or their anti-ship missiles, their Charlie 302s at the Tripoli, which is already in along with a cruiser and two destroyers. Boxer is coming in with a which can land the hovercraft with tanks, etc. They are very legitimate targets, and I would not be too dependent on the promises of Donald Trump that he's engaging them in talks. So therefore, let them be, because he asked for 5 days, because 5 days is what it would take for the amphibious assault ship Boxer to come in from the United States with about 2,500 Marines to get the total strength of Marines to 5,000. And there are 3,000 a brigade worth from the 82nd Airborne Division. So, these are all preparations for an attack. And like I said, whenever Donald Trump talks, he is just gaining time to stab the other guy in the back. He murdered the Ayatollah and 48 commanders. He had them murdered with the help of Israel under the pretext of talks. So the Iranians have been taken for a royal ride twice. Are they going to do it again?
General Bakshi, one minute. Let me get Dean. Is it dangerous to send the Marines there right now in a situation where there hasn't even been any progress in any backroom negotiations? It's a very hot and hostile situation. It's bad as it is, isn't it, Troy? It's bad as it is. The Strait of Hormuz is choked up. Tensions are very high. The strikes are continuing. There is no pause. Energy shock is worsening by the day. Why worsen things? Why can't we have a period of being just, would you think it would have been wiser for Trump to just let things plateau for a bit?
So, first of all, Arnab, thank you for having me again. This is a great debate. I think ultimately the U.S. continues its military action to continue to decimate the Iranian capability, to wreak havoc in the Hormuz Strait. As I pointed out, though, in my column in the Sunday Guardian, success here is only going to be when the regime is decapitated. But ultimately, that must only happen through the Iranian people. And the fact that there are people
Where, which Iranian people? Which Iranian people?
Make a statement for democracy. This is about democracy, long-lasting peace in the Middle East, and I think that can only happen through organizations like the NCRI or other groups aligned with democracy for Iran. So the Hormuz Strait, yes, it's a problem right now, but oil has dropped again today. I think we're seeing more stability. The fact that this is a proxy war, in fact, where Russia and China have been backing Iran should be made aware to all of your audience and understand that the geopolitical ramifications here are significant. Peace will only, though, come through the central role of somebody like the not through the IRGC, but organized resistance forces like the MDK, NLA, and the NCRI out of Iran and in exile. So I think things will stabilize over the next week, and we're seeing that in the markets today.
No, but leave the markets aside. Some time back, he was asked, Ryan Amiri, I'm coming back to you again. General Bakshi, are you there? General Bakshi, let me go back to Ryan. Ryan, who is Trump talking to? Is a question he was asked, I think, at that same briefing. He says, I'm talking to a top person. A top person. Then he said, I can't name him, but we are dealing with the man who I believe is the most respected and the leader. Who is this person? Who is this person who Witkoff is talking to? Is there any such person?
Yeah, there is. Witkoff actually previously talked with His Majesty Reza Shah Pahlavi II, which you interviewed last year with him. And I think he is the most respected person because on January 8th, you said which people? The people of Iran who took to the streets on January 8th and January 9th after a call to protest by Reza Shah Pahlavi II in millions, en masse. They took to the streets. Look at the videos, viral videos. Millions of people took to the streets against the regime, chanted against the regime, and they chanted Javi Shah. So why the mainstream media are denying this, just the obvious fact and not covering that is beyond imagination.
No, General Bakshi, Ryan, can I ask you one question genuinely? 1 second. 1 minute. General Bakshi, now I have a clean feed with you. Are you telling me that Steve Witkoff is negotiating with a man sitting in New York who has lived most of his life in America? And this is what the negotiation is about? You're not serious, right? You're not serious about it.
Just because he talked to Witkoff, he said it on tape. He said it. He talked at the order of President Trump. He talked with Reza Shah Pahlavi.
But Reza Shah Pahlavi doesn't need talking. He's a CIA asset.
No, he's not CIA asset. That is your assessment. This is beyond imagination.
I can't believe it now. General Bakshi. Okay, General Bakshi. General Bakshi.
This is, please, Rand, give us a break. This is Alice in Wonderland or the Mad Hatter's Party. I haven't heard something funnier. Look,
if he was CIA
Ryan, one. General Bakshi is hitting that one.
We heard you, boy. We heard you, old man. Now give us a chance.
Be respectful, man.
All right.
Be respectful.
Arnab,
yeah, he doesn't mean it.
We are at a critical.
Crazy lunatics like you.
Sir, can I please?
Please, these are all Ryan. These are different perspectives. These are tough times. Nothing's personal here. All right. Let's continue the debate, please. Thank you, gentlemen. Yeah. Okay. Let's everyone calm down here. Yeah. Okay.
Arnab,
who is Trump talking to?
We are at a critical decision point in this war.
You are
right.
We are.
Donald Trump has pushed up the Tripoli Amphibious Assault Group 31 MEU from Al-Kahama in Japan, which has reached. The second group, Boxer, which has hovercrafts, for landings, is about to reach. Donald Trump, the voyage was to last 5 days. Donald Trump gave a 5 days ceasefire so that this group could reach. And then he made the pretense of talk for the third time after having stabbed Iran in the back twice on the pretext of talks, murdered the Ayatollah and his family, right? Murdered 168 girls, etc. Now he again wants to repeat the same.
Ryan Amiri countering General Bakshi.
Iran to, so therefore, he is at the cusp of a decision, cusp of a critical decision whether to put boots on the ground. Soldiers like me are supposed to talk straight and tell their political masters the exact military implications. If they
More
do
windows,
not,
1 versus
it means
4.
body bags, it means widows, it means orphans. Please listen to me. It means orphans. But when the Pentagon briefed Donald Trump on this boots on the ground, imbroglio, they told him it is a high risk, high payoff mission. Donald forgot all about the high risk. He's gambling on the high payoff. And, this thing was war gamed, taking the Kharg Island in 1988 twice by the United States military. Both times they had lost. This time the Iranian capabilities are of a very high order of magnitude.
So my question is, what are we looking to? General Bakshi, General Bakshi, this is somewhere, Troy. 1 minute, General Bakshi, somewhere. I understand where you're coming from, Ryan, but Americans will be concerned. See, Sierra, you don't want a Pearl Harbor moment out here. It's maybe America's military strategists have taken it too easy by assuming Sierra and Dean that you send 5,000 American Marines and they can solve the problems of the world. It's no longer that way. To send these paratroopers out as an additional military option, you have to realize you are putting boots on the ground. What will happen after that? Dean, can anyone predict what will happen after that? Sierra, can you? What will they just hang around? This American Marines, will they just hang around, have a picnic around and do nothing? You see, the longer this goes, Trump will be under pressure to show some muscle. He might end up making a mistake, Sierra.
Well, I personally, I do not want to see boots on the ground, and I think President Trump knows that the majority of the American people feel that way, and so I believe that his military strategy, is going to continue to prioritize not putting boots on the ground, and making sure that we're not hanging around there. That's absolutely not the goal. The goal is to get in and out of Iran as quickly as possible.
No, but do you predict where this goes? Let's assume a situation. Let's war game this, Dean. An American-class amphibious assault ship travels across the South China Sea, lands near the Strait of Hormuz. It's not going to be easy then saying, go open the Strait of Hormuz. It's not going to open like that. It's the Iran has a navy. Iran has forces out there. Things can escalate. Things can go nasty, right, Dean?
So I will use a quote from Gandhi here to express my view here. Nonviolence is a weapon of the strong.